Thought I'd do a short video on the reasons why I'm leaving Ireland, as whenever I tell people moving to Bristol, everyone always asks why. Why are you moving to Bristol? Well, it's there's a few reasons. Well, why am I leaving Ireland? I'm leaving Ireland because there's kind of 2 or 3 reasons. One is the housing market here. The housing market here makes it you can't live in Dublin if you're creative and you don't have tons of money. Like, rent is ridiculous in Dublin. It's getting bad in Bristol, but it's still worse in Dublin. Dublin is so crazy to live in the area where I live in. For just a tiny apartment or house, it's well over €2,000 a month for rent, which I couldn't afford. And the only reason I'm living here now is my landlords. I've been living in the same house renting for 14 years, and my landlords are really nice people, and they haven't put our rent up as the rent went up everywhere else. And that's the only reason I can still afford to live here. And that is not secure long term. At any point in time, the landlords might need to sell that house, or it's not my house, so something might happen. I don't know. So I might have to be in the position of finding a new place to live, and that's become one of the most stressful things that can happen, which is stupid. It shouldn't be stressful to need to find somewhere else to live. If you're living in where I live in Dublin and you lose where you're renting, you're looking at moving way outside of Dublin. That's what I'd be looking at. Countryside. And I'm more a city person. I don't really want to live in the countryside. Places are expensive, even far outside of Dublin even. So the housing market is a huge reason to move. The UK it's expensive too, but it's not as expensive as Dublin, and you're getting a lot more opportunity, population for creative people. A lot of people in creative arts, they do leave Ireland, they go to UK, London, Bristol. You're tapped into a lot more population. With bigger population, there's more interesting art and music and opportunities and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, the UK, for Irish people, it's very easy to move there. You don't need a visa. You can live and work there as an Irish citizen. So that's makes it easier. There's no language barrier. All of those things. And I wanted to have a new adventure. I ran a music school for 10 years from 2014 to 2024, Ultimate School of Music. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. Ran it with my wife, and we went through many phases. It was phases where we had 6 teachers and taught drums and piano and all different voice and whatever. And that was fun and exciting, but very hard to make money with a music school, very hard. So when we had 6 teachers, the payroll was too big. We expanded too fast, classic thing, got too many teachers. Payroll was more than the income for a while, and you're we'll get more students, we'll make money, but you can't keep going when you're losing money. You can't. So we had to trim it down. We went down to 2 teachers, 3 teachers, including myself for a while, and then ended up dropping to 1 teacher. And during lockdowns, I did all the teaching for the 2 years when we had lockdowns on and off. It was all Zoom during lockdowns. It was a crazy, intense time. My wife and I worked super hard over lockdowns, 7 days a week for a long time, because we were learning how to do Zoom lessons and trying to add new classes. I was doing a lot of free classes, trying to attract new people, different kinds of classes. It was because we didn't bring on any new students to our main programs for ages because of lockdowns, and I learned a lot for sure. It was a big adjustment time. I did like guitar interviews called Guitar Night Live. I did that. It was like weekly, was it? Or it was monthly? Monthly for ages. I interviewed some really interesting guitarists, including Matteo Mancuso, who's like since totally blown up. He was already pretty well known, but now since then he's been on Rick Beato and everything. Anyway, doesn't matter. But so the music school after lockdowns and all, we did hire another teacher, Connor Callan, and we went for another year, 2022, 2023, but in a kind of lifestyle, running a business where we were working super hard, and there was just no, it was very hard for me to, making music was like a weekend thing. So it would be like working Monday. We worked Monday to Thursday and Saturday, and I might get like a few hours in the studio Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. That was my last 5-6 years. The first 4 years of the business, I didn't make music. I was so busy. Not much music at all done. The last 4 or 5 years, I was like making music in between. It was hard, but I still got stuff done. And then it was like, what are we going to do? We wanted to leave Ireland and go somewhere else. So having this physical school was not going to be possible to keep it going without us. So we decided we'd close it down. Very emotional, telling the students we were going to close it because we had a great community. We had people come for nearly the whole life of the school, some of them 8, 9 years. So then, now the school is closed and we're in the between process of finding somewhere to live in Bristol, and we're going to move as soon as we find somewhere. And I'm still teaching of some students from the school who are continuing with Zoom, because Zoom teaching allows you to change location, which is great. So I'm also available now if anybody wants any coaching on Ableton production, music production, on my website, zoe.ie. There's a page with info about that. You can get in touch with me. So I'm doing that. I'm making my course, my 7-month electronic music maker course. I'm doing all those things which I can do easily in wherever I am. So UK, I'm going to enjoy being in Bristol, but it's a very creative place, Bristol. There's creativity everywhere there. Art on the walls, the street art's amazing. The music is great anywhere. You just go to a cafe, you're having a coffee, the music is amazing. Bristol people probably don't notice it because you're just in it all the time, but in Ireland, I make electronic jazz music. Like, there's like 3 people in Ireland who are into that, So I've never really felt at home here, so it's natural for me to leave. I only stayed here because of the business, the music school that was like my whole life for 10 years. That's the only reason I stayed here. Me and my wife, we went traveling for nearly 3 years. America, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Burma, Australia, New Zealand, 2008 to 2010. And after that, I tried to figure out what I was doing livelihood-wise. I figured it out. School, that lasted 10 years. But actually, after the travels, we thought we wouldn't live in Ireland. My wife's not from Ireland. So we thought we were going to move. So the housing market here, a new adventure somewhere with a bigger population. Bristol, you can go to London easily. There's a lot of cities in the UK want to do more playing gigs, performing as well as releasing and getting into all that good stuff. So I'm super excited about the move. So mainly it's those 2 reasons. That's why I'm leaving Ireland. Why Bristol in particular, because Bristol, I've got a good few friends in Bristol. I joined the Red Rackham's How I Program Patreon group like 2.5 years ago or something, and he was based in Bristol at the time, Danny Red Rackham, and so was a good few people in the group, so I know lots of them now. It's great to know people in Bristol. London would be the other place I would want to go, but it's a bit like it takes so long to get anywhere. That's what I know people say. We live in London, so big. You can't just go somewhere. It takes you like 2 hours to go somewhere you want to go because it's so big. Bristol's like a good size, You can live in the suburbs, you can cycle in half an hour, hopefully. That's the plan. If you need to go in, mostly I would just be working at home anyway. So Bristol's great. We've been a number of times now. I've been loads of times now. And I'm comfortable there. I like it there. It's a good place. So that's why Bristol, and that's why I'm leaving Ireland. Hope that you like this rambly kind of personal video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.